Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today I'm going to be quickly breaking down how I mix the Vocal Multitrack 13 in Logic Pro 10. So without further ado, let me play the track. I'll play it from here.
Listen, I'm feeling sad but moving calm. That's me with the Anglo arm. Give me the glance, I'll make that move. I'll make it feel my stick and shoot. Up front, what you mean you want hit up the beef? I'll kick you out, you got drilling to do. You got them boy want beef, can't hack it. This slide to strip the dashing 785 or 152. I don't know from them type of youth. I don't know this beef, they can sign with a man them. What you mean you want to give us the chatting?
Let's break it down. So I imported the tracks, of course, as the first step. After I've imported the tracks, I made sure I labeled everything. And then I did the gain staging side of things. And then I started mixing it. Then, of course, I listened and listened and listened up until the mastering stage. So if you guys want more tips and guides on how to actually mix and master, check out, there's a free PDF in the description. You can, for mixing and mastering, you can go and get it, download it for free, and just use that as a guide when you're mixing and mastering. Okay, so let's break everything down. On the beat track, so if you look at the mixer now, there's nothing on the beat right now. If you could look at the lead vocals, there is a compressor and the channel EQ. So let's go through each channel or each track individually. So let's look at the lead vocals. So let me mute the other bits and just show you guys the lead vocals. So this is how it sounds like.
I'm feeling sad but moving calm. That's me with the Anglo arms. Give me the glance, I'll make that move. Man's up in the film and I stick and move.
I wanted these vocals to sound a bit more spacey. That's why it has a bit more reverb onto them compared to the other mix I've done, for example, on the FL Studio version and whatnot. So the first thing is added this EQ. So this EQ, what it literally does is just always whenever you EQ, well, mix vocals, you tend to EQ a lot of the low end. So I just wanted to remove a lot of the low end, get a bit more clarity, and that's mainly what I did for the first EQ on the individual channel. So another thing I added was this C1 compressor / gate. And I added this so I can compress the vocals and added the gate because if you noticed it, if you listen to the vocals itself, there was some noise in between some vocal takes and I had to remove that. So essentially this gate or compressor, it has a certain sound. The reason why I don't really add this compressor on like the vocal bus, I just add it on the individual vocals, on the individual lead vocals because it gives a certain flavor and it's just nice to just control or tame the vocals. So let me play you without the EQ and the compressor. And let me take off the effects on the vocal bus because that's enabled right now as well.
I'm feeling sad but moving.
Let me mute the reverb as well because that's a lot.
I'm feeling sad but moving calm. That's me with the Anglo arms. Give me the glance, I'll make that move. Man's up in the film and I stick and move.
Okay, then I added the EQ or compressor first actually.
I'm feeling sad but moving calm. That's me with the Anglo arms. Give me.
And then I added this EQ.
I'm feeling sad but moving calm. That's me with the Anglo arms. Give me the glance, I'll make that move.
So you can see that what it does, it actually makes it sound a bit much clearer. Okay, so the next vocal we need to look at is the vocal dubs. And if we play it together now, it sounds like this.
Arms, give me the glance, I'll make that move. Man's up in the film and I stick and move. What you mean you want hit up the beef? I'll kick you out, you got drilling to do.
So same thing, I added the C1 compressor. And these are the settings here. I usually tend to compress the vocal dubs a bit more than the lead vocal because the vocal dubs it's supposed to be background vocals. So it doesn't need to be up front and personal like that. Then I added the Ozone Imager 2, free plugin, link in the description, you can always get this.
Arms, give me the glance, I'll make that move. Man's up in the film and I stick and move. What you mean you want action? You don't know about balls and packs.
Just brings out the vocal a bit more. Then that's what's on the Vox dubs. So I don't know if you noticed, but you can see the lead vocals, vocal dubs, ad-libs are all routed into this vocal bus. So essentially to create that vocal bus, all you really need to do is where it says output, select bus and select an empty one. Before I added this, of course, everything was empty, so I selected bus 1, and then I renamed it Vox Bus. But you can right click and just rename it, or double click, and you rename that to Vox Bus, then that's routed into the stereo out, and the stereo out is essentially the master. Okay, so the next thing I mixed was Ad-Lib, so you can see I added C1 compressor as well, and this time I bypassed the gate because you can see here the Ad-Libs, if we just play it, let's just solo the Ad-Libs, so if we just play it,
I'm feeling, that's me.
I didn't need the gate because they were kind of already cut up, everything like that. So then I added the EQ. I added this Waves EQ. This is Renaissance EQ by Waves. And I just added little typical EQ for ad-libs. That's why I usually add anyway.
I'm feeling.
Then I added the stereo delay. Essentially, I put it on half notes and then put the mix at 15%. So now you can hear the delay.
I'm feeling. That's me. I'll make it. Up front.
and then I added Pancake 2, which is what you're probably hearing. And I put the bars to two bars, which I'm actually supposed to put 1.5 bars, so that you can hear it on each ear, so left and right. And the mix is 100%.
I'm feeling, that's me. I'll make it.
Simple, just like that. Then of course I've reduced the volume to whatever it needs to be. Now I think where the majority of work or the mixing happens or occurs is at the vocal bus. So on the vocal bus we can see, if we start enabling it now, let's play this one by one.
I'm feeling.
Let's play the vocals all together now. Okay, so this is the R compressor. Essentially it's a compressor, it's a Renaissance compressor. It sounds very good, especially on vocals, I believe. So this is how it sounds like without it, all the vocals.
I'm feeling. That's me with the angle arms. Give me the grunt.
Let's play from here.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it.
This is how it sounds like with the compressor on.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the internet fame.
Essentially what it is, I put the threshold to -20, ratio 5.33, and then I put a pretty fast attack, and the release is kind of mid type thing. So you can just look at the compressor beam taking place.
Splashing. Just slide them back it.
So this is how much attenuation is occurring. So gain reduction.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking.
Okay, the next thing I added was a dynamic EQ. This is the F6 EQ by Waves.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the internet fame. I done better glad and my tanks on E. 125 start round with the heat.
Okay, so usually when I add the dynamic EQ, a lot of the stuff, or a lot of the things I'm taking out, the frequencies I'm taking out, is usually, it depended on the artist's voice. So I think I did a lot in this end, as you guys can see. So after that, I added, I didn't really add, I just used this VU meter to just analyze.
Splashing. Just slide them back.
To check the meters, because that's one thing you always need to do. Then the vocal bus is routed into this reverb bus here. So this is, I use a true verb. This is by Waves also, and it's just a little reverb I used. I wanted it to sound a bit spacey, or a bit washy in that sense on this vocal take. And let's listen to that, how the reverb sounds like with the vocal bus.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking.
I think I even need to reduce it, so let me reduce it a bit.
Splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. They can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the internet fame. I done better glad in my tank.
And of course the sound effects here.
Lacking. Tripped up and got splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them.
Just reduce that a bit.
Lacking. Tripped up and got splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking.
And of course the beat, if you play it with the beat as well, it sounds like this.
Lacking. Tripped up and got splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. Can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the internet fame. Okay,
so that's the vocal bus there. Then everything else I did was on the master bus. I added this compressor and this limiter. So the compressor is this H compressor. It's being activated right now because I'm recording into Logic Pro, so that's why you're probably seeing some gain reduction here. But essentially I added the threshold was about -18, and then ratio 3. So it's not a heavy hitting compressor. The compression taking place is not heavy hitting. Let's play it with the beat as well to actually see the effects.
Lacking, tripped up and got splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. Can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the.
I usually like to compress on the master bus, so before I actually add the limiter, because that's usually what you want to do. And sometimes you can add an EQ as well. So if you check out the PDF, you can see listen. You can add an EQ. You can even add some warmth and saturation if it needed to be, and then add a limiter, of course. So after this compression, I added this L1 Ultra Maximizer just to limit the vocals.
Lacking, tripped up and got splashing. Just slide them back it. The man them gave him a whacking. Can't slide to the beat they're lacking. I don't do it for the internet fame.
Okay, so essentially what I did is just bring the threshold down to wherever the beat is coming in at. Make sure you don't bring it all the way down so you're crushing it, but bring it down to where you can actually get some loudness and actually it sounds overall glued together. And that's essentially what I did here. This is mainly this was more for like a simple quick mix. Of course, when mixing and mastering, you decide where you want to take the mix to. If you want it to be more of an advanced mix, or you want it to be like more like a quick intermediate or even a beginner mix. It depends on what you want to use. And yeah, I used a blend of stock plugins, and majority of course was Waves plugins, and some are free plugins as you guys can see. But Essentially, this is just a quick something. Even if you just mixing for yourself and you want something quick, you can achieve this as well. I'll be doing more with stock plugins. Just let me know what other type of videos you guys want to see as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Let me play this track one more time. Bye.
Listen, I'm feeling sad but moving can't feel it. That's me with the angle arms. Give me the glance, I'll make that move. I'll make it feel my stick and move. What you mean you want to help the beef? I'll kick